limits of debate in this country are established before the debate even begins, and everyone else is marginalized. They're made to seem either to be communist or some sort of disloyal person, a kook, there's a word, and now it's conspiracy. See, they've made that something that should not be even entertained for a minute, that powerful people might get together and have a plan. Doesn't happen. You're a kook. You're a conspiracy buff.
Like George Carlin. That guy. You know, he may not have to agree with me. That's fine. But I know a lot of people agree with George Carlin. But no, still not going to go into conspiracy theory territory. Because mainstream media tells you not to. Society tells you not to. Alright? Listen to society. Listen to mainstream media. Obviously, they are right about everything. They are the elite. You are not. Therefore, you gotta listen to them. You know what's funny? So this one is Boycott Israel. Boycott Israel. I'm gonna boycott Israel. I don't even know what Israel companies are. I mean, as far as an individual, we can't really do anything to boycott Israel. I don't even know of any corporations that are basically Israeli corporations. Yes, they are, Dominic. I knew you would show up on this one, Dominic. I'm glad you're here. Well, yeah, I might be a conspiracy theorist, I guess you could say. But do you remember the time when Hurricane Harvey flooded parts of Texas? Do you remember that? Are you guys still asleep? Remember that? I mean, you could even go to any of these sites, media companies. Just type in Google Texas flood boycott Israel. You can see Snopes or Time or BBC or independent.co.uk or NPR, NBC News, whatever, Sacramento Bee. They'll tell you, yeah. Did a city in Texas require Harvey aid recipients of a repair grant from Dickinson, Texas, not to boycott Israel? Even Snopes says it's true, and Snopes is horrible. Okay, so am I just pulling stuff out of my ass? Look at no, I don't really pull stuff out of my ass. Not even hamsters. I'm sorry to tell you that, gerbils. I do not. You can see BBC covers it. Independent Co covers it. You know, ACLU covers it. You go to ci.dickinson.tx.us. You won't see it here. They have the exhibit. They won't show you the full application. I think you have to fill it out and get a return application. But if you look at the articles, all of them, they'll point you to it. All you have to do is look at the final images. This is from Dallas Morning News. This is a screenshot because you can't see what they're saying without filling out the application. Look, verification not to boycott Israel. It's on an application to gain access to Harvey relief funds. This is it. All right. Verification not to boycott Israel. By executing this agreement below, the applicant verifies that the applicant, 1, does not boycott Israel, and 2, will not boycott Israel during the term of this agreement. Like, why the heck is that pertinent to getting relief from a hurricane? Yeah, this is at DallasNews.com. Maybe you're thinking, oh, look. Updated October 26, revised to reflect that Dickinson has removed the requirement for residence. I did not hear that. So it happened, but it was removed. That might explain why when I actually get to the document, it doesn't have anything like that. Interesting. Why did they have it in the first place? Why would they remove it? Well, let me see. Maybe because 2 people, a senator and a representative, co-sponsored a bill. And what was that bill called? Well, the House Resolution Bill 1697 is called the Israel Anti-Boycott Act. The Senate version, sponsored by Benjamin Cardin, is the S.720 Israel Anti-Boycott Act. The House resolution was by Peter J. Roscoe. All right, so are they going to push this? I mean, it was introduced back in 2017, March 23rd, 2017, in the Senate. It's Congress.gov. Am I lying to you? No. Am I bullshitting you? No. You could go look it up yourself. But I'm a conspiracy theorist. You can't listen to anything I say. I'm crazy. No, did you guys should know about this. Or are you guys too immersed into mainstream corporate media and what's going on with the Trump presidency and the I'm with her movement? Yet introduced the latest action by the House was in June 28th, which was less than a month ago. Committee agreed to seek consideration under suspension of the rules by unanimous consent. All right. Here, I'll just get you into the summary of it. I mean, you can read the entire text of it by just going to the link. I mean, you should know what the government's doing. If I'm the one having to tell it to you, I'm the conspiracy theorist. I'm telling you what's going on in the government because you won't bother to look. What kind of world is this? What are you doing out there? I'm a guy. I play with my you-know-what all day, and I still have time to do this. What's your excuse? All right. So, let's just look at the HR version. I'm pretty sure they're the same. To amend the Export Administration Act of 1979 to include in the prohibitions on boycotts against allies of the United States, boycotts fostered by international government organizations against Israel, and to direct the Export-Import Bank of the United States to oppose boycotts against Israel and for other purposes. What are the other purposes? You could go ahead and read through. You know, this isn't really a thing where I'm just going to bore you with. I mean, this is something that you should know and be looking up yourself. At any rate, let's move on. What is Israel doing? Well, what Israel seems to like Palestine very much. Likes to hug them with bombs and rockets and projectiles and whatever, air raids. They love Palestine. Yes, they do. I mean, look at that. Who's that? The Williams guy, the guy who used to be, he's on mainstream media. I forgot his not John Williams. Brian Williams. There you go. He thinks this is probably beautiful. Okay. He thinks these little smoke clouds in Palestine are beautiful. That's what Brian Williams probably says, right? Rockets firing, it's beautiful. All right. You know, that's just one of many reasons why you might want to go ahead and boycott Israel. Look, I don't even know how you could boycott Israel. Look, I looked it up. Israel corporations. I don't know of any Israel corporations, especially ones that are in the US. I kind of looked. I don't see anything that really stands out. Here's a list of companies of Israel. I don't know any of these. I don't think I even use any of them. Ooh, look, there's one called Babylon. Isn't that a little weird? Company called Babylon from Israel. Let's see. Oh my goodness. I got a guest. Hey Dominic, how's it going? I will wait for you to set up. While you're getting set up, I'll look through a couple of companies.
Hey.
Hey, haven't seen you in a long while.
I know. I had to come in on this one, though.
Yeah, I know that.
My computer's been down. I'm on my iPhone.
Oh, okay. That sucks.
Yeah.
Do you know what's wrong with it?
The screen went.
Oh,
I'm going to get. I saw the one I want. I'm going to wait till we got taxes coming up. So as soon as I pay my taxes,
yeah.
right after that, I'm going to get the computer.
Okay.
So I haven't been doing that much on it anyway. In the summer, I've been sitting outside most of the time.
Yeah, you gotta enjoy the summer while it lasts. The winters are getting worse and worse. All right, so what do you think? Boycott Israel or no?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I was just on. It's really bad because the Zionist media really works their propaganda well. Now, right now, they're trying to take down that Ocasio. Okay, I don't know a whole lot about it. Some of the stuff she says I support, like the Medicare for all, the education. I'm against the Second Amendment. She wants to ban assault weapons. She wants to open up the borders, no borders. She wants to impeach. I'm not for that stuff. But she's right on the Israel thing, but she's not too informed on it. Israel, I think, is afraid of that. They're trying to take her down now. You see how much time they spend with that flub she had on some interview she did when she wasn't sure about the occupation. Did you catch that one?
Oh, no, I didn't.
Oh, they're making a real big deal about it. I was over on Jamal's site a little bit earlier, and some people are seeing it as like she how did Jerron say she collapsed, or she collapsed on her position, but I don't see it as a collapse. She's not that informed. What happened was they started asking her about it, and she wasn't well informed. They asked her about the occupation. She started saying something that she knew she wasn't really too informed. She said, "I really don't know that much about it offhand." And they're making a big deal about that. Nobody knows that much about it because you never see it on the media because the Zionists control the media. If the media would give as much attention to the Gaza massacre that just happened, or it's still happening, if they would give as much attention to that as they're given to her for that mistake, then everybody would know what she's talking about. I'm going to show you a picture of my wife.
Okay. Hi.
All right.
I'm gonna eat because I gotta leave.
All right.
Ready to eat supper?
I'm going to come in. Yep. I'm coming right in. All right. So anyway, if you're still on when I'm done eating, I'll come back out. But the media is now trying to take her down because they know that when she does learn about the history of Israel, she's even going to be more against what they're doing there. And they don't want to jeopardize that or take a chance on that happening.
Yeah.
But the other thing you're talking about, the boycott bills, they're going strong in Congress. I mean, they really want to get them through. I wrote my Congress people about that, to tell them, let me know if they're going to vote on that. I don't know if they will because they're pricks. I wrote them a couple letters. They send me back these canned letters,
Yeah.
And I even told the Democratic committee guy, he wanted me to help him get some names because when I ran for school board, I live up in an area that's kind of rural. But right down for me is a guy who used to be a state senator, so he would know more about him than me. The addresses, because they changed from post office boxes to street addresses. But I told him, I said, Rich will help you. I said, I'll help him if he needs help. I said, but I really don't feel like doing too much for the Democratic Party. I said, I wrote Casey, I wrote Cartwright, with specific issues about Israel. And every time I write them, they send me back these canned messages. I said, why do I want to, help people that don't even pay attention to me? And I said, that's how I see the Democrats. He said, well, what do you mean? I said, are you aware of the massacre that's going on in Gaza? He wasn't even aware of that.
Yeah. Okay.
And I said, these are the issues. I said, they should be aware of that. And they should be responding to constituents who are maybe more aware of it than they are with an intelligent letter. So, well, let me go eat.
Okay. Thanks for stopping by.
Before I get boycotted.
You want to know something interesting, though? The Senate bill for the anti-Israel boycott was by a Republican, but the House resolution one was by a Democrat.
Because they want to make them nonpartisan. Yep.
Yep.
They want it to look nonpartisan.
Yeah.
Yep. Son of a bitches, boy, they're slick.
Yeah, they are. All right.
I'll try to come back.
No problem.
I'll see you later.
See you later. Okay, let's see. I'm trying to find this Akagio and interview where she might have made a mistake. I'll try to find it later. What I just want to keep going since I mean, gotta let Dominic in and talk. That guy is awesome. He follows that. If you want to follow him on the entire stuff that's occurring with Israel, what they're doing, not just Palestine. I mean, definitely follow Dominic on Twitter. His Twitter, let's see, is, hey, how come I don't, oh, is D Buscemi 1949. You can just type in Dominic Buscemi and you'll see it. And wow, he's got a lot of tweets. I gotta step up my tweet game. I don't really tweet very much. A lot of it's just automated. He's got 41.6 thousand tweets. I got 2,484. Yeah, my tweets are not very good. Awesome. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, just look at all the stuff that he has. It's pretty good. Anyways, let me continue. I'm trying to find just one company that I really recognize that's from Israel and go ahead and boycott it. But I'm looking. I don't know. I don't recognize any of them. You know, someone's got to help me. In chat, go ahead and do a @Ebon or yeah, and just tell me an Israel company that I can boycott because I can't find any that I recognize. Maybe I'll boycott Gross, Kleinhandler, Hodak, Halevi, Greenberg, and Co. I don't know what the hell that is. That's probably some law firm. I mean, what, mainstream media, corporate mainstream media? I mean, I already boycott them. I don't watch any of their stuff, so. Let's see. I don't see anything. Magic Software Enterprises, really? There's not a lot of corporations, it seems like. Motorola Israel. Yeah. You know, I don't really think it's really something for ordinary citizens. It's probably more for like corporations. They don't want corporations boycotting because corporations are the ones who are gonna make a difference anyway. Pharmaceuticals. I mean, I don't really take medicine. Wix.com. I think I recognize Wix. What is Wix? Sounds familiar. How's it going, Resident Troll Nash? I'm just kidding.
My brother Ebon, who's talking about boycotting, like it's going to make a difference. Didn't we talk about this?
Yeah, I know. We talked about it. But you know, the reason for
Walmart,
you know,
and products made in China, and we shipped our manufacturing to every other country. Let's boycott them.
Yeah. Look, we're not going to make a difference. Ordinary citizens boycotting, but all it is just the appearance and the pressure to force their hand to make a move. We want them to put up a bill or an act that's unconstitutional, because we keep seeing that they will push the boundaries to make things, push legislation that's unconstitutional. And what
I've never seen so many people swear to defend the Constitution and stand by and watch the Constitution get destroyed.
Exactly. And I think when I listen to, hey Ben, when I listen to Perseus, I think he's got a point. You know, this is a war of attrition that they're doing. Let's accelerate it. Let's keep having them push their hand. Let's make them keep pushing legislation that's unconstitutional, and see when the people will start to rise up and say, nope, we've finally had enough. You know, it's not going to happen when it's just slow like this and people don't even know about it. But anyways, Wix. I don't use Wix, but I plan on boycotting Wix because I don't. All right. Anyways, that's the only one that I really found. Let's go ahead and oh, let's see. They've acquired a couple of open rests.
We know a lot about Israel. Israel is no saint. You know, Israel has, you know, and I'm Jewish, so so I can say a lot of things, and I will criticize Israel in a big way because they are a big problem.
You're anti-Semitic for
I
a
am.
Jew.
I'm also an anti-dentite. I hate dentists.
You hate guns?
I hate dentists.
Oh, dentists. Oh, you're an anti-dentite.
Yes.
How's it going, Ben? What's on your mind? I'm probably only going to be doing this for 45 minutes because my kids will be here, so I want to pay attention to that, and I'll be on later tonight with a different episode. But I just want to point it out there. Let's boycott Israel in whatever shape, way, or form we can, and let's see if it makes enough noise where Congress is going to go ahead and pass that anti-Israel boycott.
There's no way to boycott them. There's no way. It's not going to happen. You know, they're embedded in, like, you know, they're like underground. They're like in your shit that you're buying that's, you know, flying another flag.
Yeah. I wonder if anyone's done any investigation into all the materials and stuff that are in a lot of popular things, just to see if we can, you know, if we were gonna boycott, what we would boycott, right? Like,
yeah, let's stop eating kashabanicus and matzo ball soup.
Okay, I'm down with that. But what if like matzo balls are made in like Palestine or in France or something? Would we boycott it?
Hey, you know, I mean, Jews have good delis. I love a good Jewish delicatessen.
Yeah, but
give me that hot pastrami.
I'm not saying like boycott Jewish stuff. I mean,
yeah, that's my point too. I mean, Israel and Jews are two separate things, and the people of Israel, do you think they benefit from any of this shit? When you talk about Israel, you're talking about the Israeli government.
Yep.
Just like the United States government, or when we talk about Europe.
Exactly.
So it's just like,
I'm not saying boycott Jews or boycott Jewish institutions. I'm saying boycott Israel. That's
the Democratic Party and Democrats. Like, I don't have the same feelings I have towards Democrat voters as I do the Democratic Party.
All right. Can you repeat that? Sorry.
I said it's like the difference between Democratic voters and the Democratic Party.
Oh, yeah.
I have different feelings. You know, I think I separate, like I differentiate that in my mind. Distinguish. I think there's a distinction there.
Right. That's
true. Exactly, Ben. There's a distinction, you know. So, but I mean, people on YouTube throw around the Jews, you know, pretty loosely, you know, pretty all the time. I see it every day.
Yeah.
Every single day.
And then the perception that,
you know,
I like this because it's like the reason why I like doing it, saying this and stating this is because, well, are they gonna call me an anti-Semite? Are they gonna call Nash the Jew the anti-Semite? It's like,
no, I'm the Jewish troll. What am I?
Yeah.
What was my title when I came in? Now add Jew in there.
Yeah.
Nash the drunk Jewish troll.
Or maybe we're just I Maybe I'm just a white supremacist, is what it is.
So all of our
Yeah.
all of us
I
went to
mean,
the same place. There we all had the same idea. All of our minds went to the same place because Ebon made the distinction. He said, you know, it's not like I'm going to protest delis or Jewish people or something. And then like Nash said the same thing. You backed him up, and then I was actually thinking about making a joke where I pretended.
Well, I was making a joke. That was the whole point. It didn't go over well, I guess, but that was a joke, Ben.
But then I thought it would be insensitive to make a joke about that, and then but so we all had the same, like all our minds went to the same place. How there was that distinction though. My joke was just to the point of that it's not the same thing.
Yeah.
And I think basically when you conflate the things, when you conflate you know, the two things, it actually does something for the confusion and general lack of coherency or ability to discuss the things. So it's actually, like you said, going back to, it does no service to.
And what's the weird thing is, like on this show, anybody could come on, right? Anybody, and even trolls come on. Is we never get to see people who are really for things that we're against. Like they're like for the corruption in the government. They're for the propaganda in media. They're for Israel's occupation of Palestine. Like they don't ever come on here. It's like, why is that? How can we get these very, like, heck, we even get some occultists on here. And
I'm against it.
Yeah,
I'm against it. I'll say it right now. I'm against the Greater Israel Project. I'm against the occupation of Palestine. I'm against all of this
I'm saying,
murder and war.
Yeah, I'm saying we don't get the people who are for these things that we're against. So just so we have someone we can have a conversation with as to why they're for it, right? I mean,
But I think it's that if only it were just that simple, because there are actually people who are making arguments for it, but they're against it. Or there are people who are making arguments against it and they're for it. Like some people, sometimes it's tricky.
I guess I'm just saying no one comes in just to like say, hey, you guys are wrong. You guys are crazy. Here's why our government is so great. Here's why mainstream corporate media is so great. Here's why Israel is so great. You know, we don't get to hear any of those people come on.
They might make arguments.
You know why they're great? I'll tell you guys right now the secret, and I'll tell you guys why they're great.
Okay, go ahead.
Because the people believe it.
I guess that is true. Oh, man, that's belief. You know, that's where it kills us. Like,
do you think Rachel Maddow believes what she says? Like, does she really believe things the way she says them? Like the way she would have us believe it?
No, she don't believe it, but the people believe what she says.
Yeah. It doesn't matter what you believe as long as you say it. I mean, you look at these...
She's a whore, man.
Yeah, you look at these...
Rhodes Scholar piece of shit like Bill Clinton.
You look at these...
If you know anything about the Rhodes
ministers and these preachers who are...
Media company, Candlelight Media, took off. And then I was his friend secretly in the background. And I started an organization that said Anti-Candlelight Media Organization, and we protested it. Then I could just get all the information on all the people who are against you, and then just like lead them down a bunch of hyperbole or rabbit holes, or get them to don't empty their wallets or anything. Like, who knows? So you could be making arguments against Ebon's Candlelight Media, but you could be totally for it. Who knows? Like, really, if you're putting a true skeptical lens on it, there's people out there making arguments they don't believe in. It's fucking sophistry.
Well,
and so
yeah, I've seen Ebon and Chad go at it, and that's all the arguments I need to see for the rest of my life.
Hey, I'd rather let Chad come in here and just go off, because it doesn't really matter what I say. When you just listen to what he says, I don't need to say anything. It's already said.
That's what I'm saying. Chad talks for 2 hours and didn't say a damn thing. All he said was, "You're butthurt. You're this. Name called you for 2 hours." And I'm like, everyone in the chat was like, "Chad, calm down. Just make your point. State your case. State your fucking case. What do you got?
Yeah.
You're an asshole. You're like.
Hey, I'm a pompous asshole.
Say something. Come on. Say something.
That's all right.
Just.
Yeah, maybe that's the thing. Maybe when the people who are for all these things, if they ever come on, that's all they do is just tell us that we're assholes and we're anti-Semitic or we're white supremacists or something like that.
I know, but make a case, throw some facts out there, bring up information, send people down a rabbit hole, put out something that's going to help the people.
Ponder rabbit hole.
I mean, the last refuge of anyone without facts or evidence is to name call.
Yeah. And we see a lot of that. That's where everything's going towards. And I don't know. It's weird.
I can't debate anymore. I'm just going to call you names. You won, but I can't surrender. You proved me wrong. Fuck! I have to call you a name now.
Like if they're trying the purpose of whatever the debate, whatever that they're doing, is just to try to convince us that we're wrong. That should be the goal. I would take it. But then when you start resorting to name calling, how do we would we ever want to agree? Right? I mean, if I just start calling.
The whole thing
should be amicable. It shouldn't even be that way to prove you wrong, so I win. It's to open your mind.
Yeah.
It's to open your mind.
Arguments
think a different way.
I think arguments are usually about more than one thing. There's usually the instance itself that you're actually arguing about that caused the initial conflict and basically people taking issue with each other. But then there's also usually a backlying issue, and so like that was the case here, and like backlying issues kind of backlog or whatever queued up, and so like you got to separate those things, and I think the issue itself with the cutoff, like the cutting James off, it's kind of like, it's just honestly, I think an arbitrator would have a hard time with it. I think it's honestly just a kind of a thing where it was kind of both you guys that were being a little stubborn, headstrong, and then honestly, both. So it's just, that's why it was tricky, because I don't think it really just was just solely or wholly anybody's matter. But so then Chad took a clear side on how he felt about it, but the whole thing I felt like it took way too much time. There was way too much time dedicated to it, and I think that was the absurdity of it.
Let's just stay on topic. That's all done. It's kind of segued quite a bit. But like Israel's just one thing. Like why do you think that they put what was with Texas?
Because Israel is owned by the Rothschilds, and Israel is the banking system along with England and DC and Wall Street, and Israel is in cahoots with Saudi Arabia, and I mean, this is the problem. Yeah, so it's not just Israel, because England and the Crown is using Israel as a front group, like the country as a whole front.
So maybe it's this direction.
And the banking system.
This direction. Like the Democrats, it's the Republicans, it's the Vatican, it's these people, it's those people. It's like, it's kind of all this mutual misdirection or something.
The whole thing with the Harvey Relief Fund, with that stipulation, I just thought it was just weird. Like,
it's just boycotting Israel. Let's boycott anyone from Skull and Bones. let's boycott Stanford University.
Yeah.
Let's boycott. What are you going to solve? This is petty crap.
Yeah, it is. But if they're going to put in the petty stipulations, might as well go against their petty stipulations and exacerbate it, right? Because I think the purpose of all this legislation stuff is to slowly but surely make it so we don't have any freedoms left. It's like,
don't talk about Shirley. She's not here.
That was
just kidding.
Okay.
You said Shirley.
It's a slippery slope. It's a slippery slope, and it could it definitely, everybody noticed that right off the bat. It could be a precedent or pave the way, and so I guess it's slow moving too. So that's telltale, right? Like, oh, it's slow moving. Just forget about it. It just feel at home with it being there on the back burner, you know, introducing it like that. So that's how it feels to me. Seems to me.
Is there like an anti-Saudi Arabia boycott? Was there ever one that any time where that got introduced?
All right, see you guys. I'll be listening.
Right, see you, Ben. There's Arab League boycott of Israel. Oh, that's interesting. Here. There's an Arab League boycott of Israel. That's cool. I don't know what that means. It's adopted by the Arab League and its member states to boycott economic and other relations between Arabs and the Arab states of Israel, and specifically stopping all trade with Israel, which adds to the country's economic and military strength. A secondary boycott was later imposed to boycott non-Israeli companies that do business with Israel, and later a tertiary boycott involved the blacklisting of firms that do business with other companies that do business with Israel. So I think it's a lot of stuff that's outside the country. I don't know. Maybe this thing is probably way bigger than what we think it is too.
Ebon, I think you should raise some money and you should go to Israel and cover it.
You just wanted me to get shot up by Israeli soldiers, don't you?
No, they love Asian people.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. Height of the boycott, the oil crisis. Weakening of the boycott. Oh, look, there's weakening of the boycott. Oslo Peace Accords. Who do we see? Bill Clinton. Ooh, that's funny. Okay, that's great. You know, they're gonna say, hey, there's a. Oh, this is what Air Force Max was saying. Hey, Air Force Max, boycott, divest, sanctions. Protest in Melbourne, Australia. What does that mean? That boycott, divestment, and sanctions. Hey, Dominic, how's it going? The boycott, divestment, and sanctions movement was founded in 2005 in an attempt to increase economic and political pressure on Israel and advocates of a total international boycott of Israeli products, divestment of investments in Israel, and sanctions. Besides anti-Israeli economic measures, the BDS movement also strives to disrupt cultural exchanges and business involving Israelis and businesses which deal with them. In addition, sporting teams from various Arab states continue to boycott international matches when they are drawn against an Israeli team, choosing instead to forfeit the match. Thanks, Air Force Max. I did not even know about that. That's cool. So it's a global campaign, and maybe they're thinking it's gotten pretty big. They just don't want it to spread to the U.S. Interesting. So, how's it going, Dominic? That was
made
fast.
it back.
Yeah. I'm probably
gonna there's a lot of products that are made that are sold in the U.S. that are made in Israel. Stanley tools.
Stanley?
Not all of them, but not all of them, but there's some of them that are. And I bought one of those work tables. I don't know if you've seen them. They're really nice, but I didn't realize it until I got home that when I turned it upside down, it was made in Israel.
Oh, that sucks.
So yep, got to watch them. Not all of them are.
Okay. Because some of the tools that Stanley makes are pretty good.
Yeah. I don't know if that was made in the settlements.
Yeah. Yeah, they don't really make that distinction either.
Well, I just wouldn't buy anything from Israel.
Yeah. So, do you know about the boycott divestment?
Oh yeah. That's been going on a long time.
And sanctions.
And it's really picking up steam. I'll tell you, Roger Waters from Pink Floyd is really big into that.
Okay.
Really big into that. Right now, are you aware there's a flotilla on the way to Gaza? Trying to break the blockade? They're bringing medical supplies and food supplies and other things into Israel won't allow in there. And they tried it a couple of times before. And one time, a couple of people got killed. So now it's, I forget how far they're out. The Real News just did an article with the one guy on the flotilla is an ex-Israeli helicopter pilot, an Apache helicopter pilot. And he was in the service about 10 years. And then when they started realizing what they were doing, him and a bunch of his other officers, said that, it's not right. This isn't right. This isn't morally acceptable. And he actually left. He's part of the boycott movement in Israel. He still lives in Israel. And he's calling for, but it's real good. It's a real good interview. It was on today. It's on that Freedom Flotilla.
And nothing's going to happen to that guy?
No.
Huh.
He says it's not real. He says life is like a dissident. He lives a life of a dissident there. If they hate you, they're always after you for every little thing. But he said when he looks at the things that are going on around the world that Israel's involved in, and that these people are, that the NATO and all these people are involved in, that are killing all these people who don't have a chance. He says he just couldn't do it anymore.
Okay.
And he was on like 2 flotillas before this. They sent one from Turkey a couple of years back. I think that's the one a couple of people got shot.
Real News is REELNEWS.
Yeah, REALNEWS.
Oh,
It might be under The Real News.
okay. I'll take a look. I don't think I've ever seen that. And
It should be recent. It was just today, I think it was posted.
let's see. From the Freedom Flotilla. Okay, this
Yep.
is what it is. So
The one reporter is going with them.
You want me to air it? It's 13 minutes long. It says from the Freedom. Okay, so I'll go ahead and play it if that's okay.
It's very interesting, yeah.
Okay. It says from the Freedom Flotilla, a former Israeli Air Force pilot calls for a boycott of Israel.
This is Dimitri Lascaris reporting for the Real News Network from the port in Naples, Italy. We are seated in front of the ships of the Gaza Flotilla, the Freedom Flotilla, which have been docked here for a couple of days, and I'm pleased to be joined today by Yonatan Shapira. Yonatan is a former rescue pilot in the Israeli Air Force. He's also a founding member and prominent activist of the Israeli movement Boycott from Within. And I'd like to thank you very much for joining us today, Yonatan.
Thank you. Thank you for coming.
So I'd like to start by talking about your experiences within the Israeli Air Force and your decision ultimately to become a dissenter from military service. Could you tell us about that?
Well, there is a long story to tell here, but I'll just try to say in a few words that in 2003, after more than 10 years of service in the Israeli Air Force, I was a Black Hawk helicopter pilot doing rescues and flying soldiers and doing everything that I was asked. I realized together with the other friends in the Air Force that we are fighting for the wrong side, and we are part of an organization that commits crime against innocent Palestinians, and we do not want to be part of it anymore. So together with a group of about 27 pilots from all different squadrons of the Israeli Air Force, attack pilots, rescue pilots like me and others, veterans and active, we sent this letter to our commander and the whole society in Israel, telling them that we are no longer willing to obey the orders and be part of this illegal and criminal and immoral occupation. That's what started my life as an activist 15 years ago, in the eve of the Jewish year, Rosh Hashanah.
And subsequently, you became a prominent member, as I mentioned at the outset, of this movement, Boycott from Within. Can you tell us what is it like being an Israeli citizen advocating for the imposition of a boycott, given the attitude of the Israeli government towards the whole boycott movement?
As a human being, I'm very proud of it. I feel super confident about what we. There are many activists. We are still a minority of a minority, but there are activists in Israel, who are calling for boycott, divestment, and sanctions because we believe it's for the benefit of all people, Palestinian people and Jewish people and everyone living there and everyone in the world. Of course, the Zionist society in Israel doesn't like it. So you pay the little price of being a dissenter in an apartheid. So you get some benefit, some of your privilege away, but overall, I'm still able to be there when I'm there and lead relative comfortable life. And slowly, the apartheid system is trying to make it harder and harder and more difficult on us. But again, when I look and compare my life to a life of a Palestinian or a refugee in Israel, or even a non-white Ashkenazi Israeli man in Israel, I'm still able to live quite comfortable. As we speak, there are many trying in the parliament to make the apartheid in Israel more official. So different laws that are trying to constitute that will make it even harder for us to still be free, to still act. And it's just important to remember that Israel claimed to be a democracy. It is not. It's an apartheid. It's led by a group of fascist Jewish supremacy people and prime minister and ministers. But if you are a Zionist Jew, you can feel a great democracy. If you are not a Zionist and if you're not a Jew, you're living in apartheid.
Now, you've participated on prior missions of the Freedom Flotilla. Could you tell me why, and also how you were received by your former colleagues within the Israeli military when the vessels were intercepted on those occasions?
The first time I tried to break the blockade with a group of activists was 2010, about 3 months after the what happened on the Mavi Marmara, where the Israeli army shot and killed about 10 activists from Turkey, most of them. The helicopter that landed the soldiers that killed and massacred the people on the Mavi Marmara were helicopters from the squadron I used to fly in, this Black Hawk squadron in the Israeli Air Force. Therefore, I decided that I must participate in the second boat that will try to break the blockade. It happened in September 2010. We were very small and we were intercepted by many warships, small and big. And if we were Palestinians or Turks, I guess they would shoot us and kill us maybe, but I got the better treatment of a taser gun in my heart. So maybe they thought that they will resuscitate my Zionist behavior, my Zionist heart will start beating again. But instead it just made me more clear about my decision and confident about the need to struggle against this apartheid and against this illegal crime of ghettoization and concentration of 2 million people. The second attempt was 2011, about a year later. I was on a crew of the Audacity of Hope. It was a big American boat, and we were part of the second flotilla trying to leave from the port of Piraeus in Greece. Unfortunately, the Greek government was co-opted by Israel and the US, and with different pressure, I guess, they obeyed Bibi Netanyahu, and we had a big sign saying, who's your commander, Netanyahu or Poseidon? Who's the god of the sea? Is it Israel or the Greek Poseidon? unfortunately, it was Netanyahu, and on a gunpoint, we were stopped by the Greek Coast Guard just a few minutes after leaving the port of Piraeus, and we had to go back, and were detained by the Greeks. And the third attempt was 2012 with the Ship to Gaza, the Swedish group that was with many international organizations, and a Finnish flag boat named Estelle. We had other Israelis on board, Reut and Elik and Dror Feiler also. And we were also stopped about 40 miles from shore, from Gaza. This time it was a big operation. I guess they use it as a maneuver for training their forces, because they know that we are not posing any threat, like military threat on them. So they were hundreds, maybe thousands of soldiers participating, about 15 warship, big and small, and also one Black Hawk helicopter that came and circled above us. And when I look at it on the tail, I could see that the number on the tail is 852, which is the same helicopter, the same piece of metal that I used to fly some years before. They again arrested us, tasered us, and took us to the Navy base of Ashdod, and we spent a few days arrested.
I'd like to talk to you about the future to conclude, and those of us in the West watching with trepidation what's happening it seems to be that every day the predicament of the Palestinian people is worse, and that the Israeli government's sense of impunity is on the increase, if anything. Are you feeling hopeful based upon what you see for the cause of Palestinian justice for the Palestinian people? Do you see signs that this is a battle that is being won ultimately, and that this is something that may actually be won within your lifetime?
Well, what gives me hope is nothing about the governments and the system that controls us in your country, in my country. I see a lot of hypocrisy all over Europe and elsewhere, and also Canada. What gives me hope is to see the popular struggle of Palestinians that are showing incredible bravery. That reminds me what I grew up on, the struggle in the ghettos, in the Warsaw Ghetto and other ghettos, with all the courage to walk into the fence, towards the fence of this biggest prison in the world, armless, without bearing any arms, walking and trying to protest this siege, gives me a lot of hope, because I think that's where the mighty power of the Israeli military collapses. When we have thousands and thousands of Palestinians that are uniting, holding hands and standing in front of the Israeli snipers, that gives me hope. That means that it's not going to be able to last forever. And things like that gives me hope. To be together with Spanish, Italians, Americans, Canadians, Norwegians, Swedish, everyone, it means that somewhere on a deep nerve of many people around the world, it's quite clear that this symbolic struggle of the Palestinians for freedom will be won at some point. And our job is to not be deterred, and not lose our hope when we see the hypocritical governments in one hand saying something against Israel crimes, and on the other hand still doing armed trade with them and giving them all the impunity and all the actual support to continue with this massacre and this illegality. But it's important to say to everyone who listens to us that we need you. We need this person that now maybe sit in Canada or in the US or in elsewhere in Europe or somewhere else. we need you to join this struggle. And this struggle is not just about freedom for Palestinians. It's about the struggle against what Europe and the US and other countries are doing to refugees that are trying to escape the horrors in Africa. It's the same struggle. It's the struggle of the people who have less to be recognized and to get their basic human right. So if you want to be part of this struggle, wherever you are, you don't have to come all the way and join us in this flotilla. You can be active in your local community for justice for everyone, and then you are part of the struggle for justice for Palestine.
Well, I'd like to thank you very much for speaking with the Real News today, Jonathan. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you for coming here, and good luck with your health.
Thank you very much. And this is Dimitri Lascaris reporting for the Real News from Naples, Italy.
Wow. You know, this is what I like about people coming on and sharing stuff that I don't know. Thanks for sharing that, Dominic. I mean,
yeah, that was good. And that's the thing, you know, that's what we have to do. We have to get the word out, you know, and like a show like yours, you know, you just showed it to how many people who will talk about it, how many views will this get. So the more people that know about what's going on, this has been hidden for like 70 years, you know, behind the media's curtain, you know, and now with social media, that curtain's been torn away, and you can see who the real villains are over there. It's everybody thought, and for a long time, I thought, oh, them Palestinians are some nasty people. You know, they have been really screwed royally all them years, but the media turned it around to make somebody that is being oppressed the villain, and the person who's doing the oppressor the hero.
They always reverse the situation.
Yeah.
And that's another thing that I think is a problem, is because the mainstream media, even alternative media, they always make it so that whenever we hear about Israel or Zionism, they start thinking conspiracy theory. They start thinking, okay, this guy is a white supremacist. He's a Nazi. He hates Jews. But you know, that's what they focus on. But they don't go to the part where, hey, look, we just had an Israeli Jew boycotting Israel within. He used to serve in their military, and he's there not just with other Israelis, but he's with Americans, Canadians, Italians, Swedish people, Norwegians. It's a global outreach of activism against what's going on, and it's about social justice. It's about human rights, right? And you would think like social justice warriors in the U.S. would be all with that, but they're not.
It's a humanitarian crisis, really, you know, because the way they have that siege on Gaza right now, they get like 4 hours of electricity a day. The hospitals can't function. They have to get permission from Israel to take people to hospitals outside of Gaza, which could be days. People have died waiting for the permission to get to a hospital where they could have been saved. Okay, it's a genocide, really. They want them people to just go away. You know, it's kind of what we did to the Indians, you know, but now there's mass media or social media that can bring this to light. You know, you can't get away with doing that to people anymore, you know, and but they have such a great propaganda machine, you know, like to get these censorship laws and to, you see the news, you know, you never hear them talking about Israel killing, another Gaza protester died in conflicts at the border. Well, for one, there's no border because Israel don't have a border. Okay, they didn't die in a conflict. They were murdered, you know, and they were an unarmed protester who was murdered by an Israeli government soldier. You know, I mean, how egregious can you get? And the United States is vetoing every resolution that goes to the UN to put a stop to it. The United States vetoes it. Now, these other countries that they can take their own measures, like Ireland. There's a woman in Ireland. She's a senator, She just got it to where Ireland is boycotting settlement goods, which was a real that's tough to get a government body to vote against Israel.
Yeah.
But she got it, you know, and that's a big step.
Here's here's more to the point. Type in Palestinians killed within Google, and you're on the news tab, and you'll see Al Jazeera, DTube, Al Jazeera again, Reuters, Jerusalem Post, Jewish Week, Times of Israel, Jewish News. We don't see MSNBC, we don't see Fox News, we don't see New York Times, we don't see Washington Post, we don't see CNN. You would think that, I mean, there's explosions. You would think they would cover something like that.
All the media organizations, and you can Google this and look on Wikipedia. There's about 6 of them, you know. But all the big news, Time Magazine, they're all controlled by Zionists.
Yeah.
Okay? Yeah. Zionists control the news media. Zionists control the World Bank. Okay, they control everything. Okay, so if you're not playing their game, you're cut off. Okay, and made to look like an asshole. Okay, yeah. So until we had something like this to start spreading the word, you know, around the news media, who knew? You know, how many people knew before all this what was really going on, you know, over there, where Israel just decided to stop in one night and expel 800,000 people, drive them out of their homes, kill them, drive them into refugee camps. That's what happened there, basically. And they've been stealing land ever since 1948. They've been stealing land ever since. They're in the process of doing settlements right now. That's what pisses me off when they talk about the social justice warriors. Everybody's hair is on fire now because the kids are getting separated from the adults at the border. Okay, it's not what they're playing it out to be. I mean, it's not like they're dragging them away and throwing them into a dirt pit. You know, they're separating them because that's what happens when somebody gets arrested. You know, I don't know that much about it. You know, I can see where it would happen. But by the same token, everybody's hair is on fire. Yet for the past 2 months, Israel has been shooting these kids. You know, shot a nurse. They shoot the press. They're blatantly just blowing people away, unarmed people, people who it's an international crime to shoot in a combat zone, the press and medical aid, you know, and they're just blatantly getting away with it. Nobody's saying a word about it. We're giving Israel $10 million a day to do it, but you don't have these people, you know, oh my God, they took the kid away. Show them a picture of Yemen or Gaza. You know, these kids blown apart or dragged away from their parents in the middle of the night, being arrested by Israeli soldiers for throwing a stone. Yep. You know, come on. It's so manipulated. What we have now is controlled resistance. That's what these people are doing right now. And that's to distract, I think, away from the massacre that's going on and the genocide that's going on in Yemen. We're involved in that one too.
Yeah, there's a lot of videos where if you type in, I mean, this was just not just recent, but just look, if you type in Palestinian kid, Israeli soldier, here's this one that was from 7 years ago. He's being sarcastic. Israeli soldiers treat Palestinian children very nice.
جاف به القريح وأظلمت الحياة بناظريه وصوحت الأزاهر والسفوح وماذا قد أقول له وهذا دم الإثم.
Yeah, we don't need the audio of that. But yeah, look.
He's just harassing that kid for no reason.
Exactly. I mean,
you see the one where the guy stole the little girl's bike? There's one where they took a little girl's bike.
Yeah.
Probably about 8, 9 years old. They took her bicycle. She's crying, my mom. Yeah. You don't see that one on the news though.
Yeah. I mean, there's I don't know. There's a lot. Yeah.
And there's laws against that, you know.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's incredible. I mean, That's the thing. I'd like to, if I ever get to talk to these people who support Israeli occupation or whatever, and just show them and just hear from them. The thing is, I don't think they'd ever come on because they would just say that the Palestinians are not even human or whatever, or Israelis are. It's so obvious what they're going to state, and so
well,
obviously
they're going to tell you that Israel built that land up because there was mass immigration before 48, and they started their plan well before they got it. It was given to them by the United Nations. They started this back in, I think, the 30s and the 40s. They really started moving into Israel. Hitler wanted to move them over to Israel. But in any event, their arguments are, oh, well, we built it up and now they want to take it over. Well, no, they didn't buy it. They just moved in there, and they did buy some of it. But then once they got in there, now they're just blatantly taking land. They're taking settlements today. If you wonder, you can see them kicking these people out of settlements.
Yeah.
200 people they just threw out of a village this week. You see them knocking down their home, dragging the people out, beating women. I mean, they're just ruthless people. That's on. I saw it on Twitter a lot. You can see it if you look on their settlement occupation or something. It's probably up in the top one because that's one of the newer ones. This one it just took over.
So why do you think like alternative media or indie media doesn't cover it as much? I mean, I normally wouldn't cover it too much. It just stops in, like I'll see snippets of just news and I was like, that's just wrong. Or people will say things on Twitter and I'll notice and it's like, that's just wrong. It's like, all
there's
right.
some that do cover it. I'll tell you, the one guy I watch a lot is this Jake Morphonius. It's the heck is the name of his show? Real time news, or end time news.
End time.
Yeah, the guy's a historian, really smart. I mean, he's a Christian. Like sometimes he gets off on a religious tangent, but other than that, he's pretty spot on, and he gives both sides. He just did a good one today on the Russia thing with Putin and Trump. But he's not a judgmental guy. He just lays out the facts.
Hey Fly, what's going on?
Hey guys, just stopping in to see you guys. I haven't seen you in a while.
Yep.
Hey Fly.
How you doing, Dom? Good to see you,
Good.
brother.
You too, man.
What do you
now, brother? Retired.
Retired,
I'm
but
sorry,
still
what?
active, Dominic. Well, you could just be. If I was retired, I might just be fishing all day.
I don't have any interest like that. I don't fish. I don't play sports. I put a boat together for my wife. We have had an old Schwinn.
Yeah.
Had it sitting in the shed. So I took that all apart. Let me see if you can see it. Took that all apart and.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
definitely nice.
It's about a 70s. It's in pretty good shape.
Yeah.
The breeze it was. I got the chrome. I had to use aluminum foil to get the chrome clean, but it worked really good.
Yeah.
That was all rusty. I didn't get it all out.
Yeah.
But I got most of it out. But if you look at the handlebars here, see the rust on them? I don't know if you can see that stuff.
I hear Coca-Cola does a good job too.
I tried that.
Yeah.
It's real sticky though. I mean, these were, if it was just a little bit, I would probably try it. It works.
Yeah.
But it's real sticky. I saw a thing on YouTube that said you should use Diet Coke. It's not as sticky. But I just feel like a little bit.
Go ahead, Fly.
I want to point out how wonderful it is that Dom has been working so hard trying to enlighten everybody. At this time where he could be retired and just relaxing and watching all of us kids mess up the world, he decides that he's going to step up his game and try to make the world a little bit better.
I'm trying to correct some of my mistakes.
I hear you. We're all trying to correct any mistakes we made in the past. Try to make this.
Yep. That's just to me. It seems like I'm living on borrowed time. Like there were a couple of times I was pretty close to death, I would say, in Vietnam. I come back, I was a little bit wild. I got into a couple pretty bad car crashes. Nobody got hurt, but you know, it could have been killed there. That couple motorcycle accidents, rolled the tractor trailer. Just had that last motorcycle accident was the one that messed me up. But now I gotta tell you a funny story. I got that bike all together, right? And I don't have much power in my left leg. So I was gonna take it around. I was gonna surprise my wife. She was on the other side of the house. So I was gonna ride it around the house and come out and surprise her. But I have a hard time riding. I had to go across the grass. And just as I'm coming around the corner, I couldn't get the pedal down right away. Went off the side in the stones and brushed my arm up against the wall. Got road rash on my arm.
Ouch.
Ouch.
So that was yesterday. Today she was out there and I was adjusting the chain and stuff. I got all together, was riding it around, and I tried to sneak up in back of her. But I snuck up in back of her. I got her. I scared her right with the bike. So then I took off. I was going to try to ride around the house again. I got in the grass and couldn't get the bike down again. It just fell over like that guy on Laughing. Remember that tricycle? Just went over like that.
Yeah. Anyways, it's almost time. My kids are gonna be here. My wife's got the car, pick up the kids today because her bike had a flat, so she had to come back, get the car, and take the car to work. She likes riding her bike to work. Any last words, Fly? One last word for you, Dominic. If there's ever a topic that you want me to do for anything that's related to the Israel occupation and all this other stuff that's going on that you think really needs to be talked about, just let me know and we'll do do an episode.
That's great. Yeah. That'd be great.
I just want to thank you both for how hard you're working on so many different things all at once and trying to make the world better.
Yeah, likewise, Fly.
Yeah, you too, Fly. I mean, there's a lot that I still see on Discord about, and all the people who are helping out with the videos. I should be editing a lot of stuff, but I haven't had too much time. But I am going to try to do a music video with a lot of the snippets of the stuff. It's just a little bit hard to imagine. It's also really time-consuming to find like quotes that I want to show within a music video, and then within the music video, the music has to be like muted a little bit just so you could hear the people saying it. So it's a work in progress, but I think it will be really cool.
What program do you use to edit?
I use Power Director.
Oh,
yeah. I mean, it has some issues, but I can figure it out and work around it. But I mean, I don't really do a lot of production value stuff. I've started doing a little bit just for the intros, just because like when I start getting into conspiracy theory stuff, it's like, well, how do we get people to really look into like conspiracy theory stuff isn't all nuts? It's like George Carlin is a big one. It's like people love George Carlin, especially people who are within our mindset. It's like, how do you argue against George Carlin, right? So I added that piece into it. So thank you guys for coming on.
Yep.
Oh, go ahead.
No, just gonna say goodbye.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
See you,
I'll see you later.
See you, Dominic.
See you all later.
Chat.
See you guys later.
See ya.